Imagine for a moment a performer, someone you probably know really well. Maybe you think of him fighting demons, or as this gritty soldier type, or maybe even wearing the cowl, the Caped Crusader himself.
Right, an iconic image.
Exactly. Now, try and picture that same guy starting out. His very first big role as a romantic, super sensitive twin on a classic soap opera. The kind of character who always, and I mean always, followed the rules.
It sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? It's quite the contrast.
It really is. Sounds like a fascinating pivot, right? Well, today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're diving deep into the truly remarkable career journey of Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, and it's more than just a pivot, I'd say. It's this incredible evolution. What's genuinely fascinating, I think, is how he's consistently managed to shed one artistic skin, for another, defying those early perceptions.
Reinventing himself again and again.
Totally. It really speaks to a rare kind of artistic agility, that ability to transform.
Absolutely. So this deep dive today, it's all about charting that incredible journey. We're going to meticulously trace his path right from his early days as like a daytime drama heartthrob through his transformation into a sci-fi icon, and then even beyond that into more complex, sometimes even controversial territory.
Yeah.
Our mission today really is to pull back the curtain, look at the specific moments, the character choices that really illustrate his remarkable versatility and the enduring impact he's had.
Okay.
We want to give you a fresh, detailed, and truly insightful perspective on a face you might think you already know so well.
And we're not just going to say, oh, he has range, in abstract terms.
Right.
We want to make that concept really concrete for you. We'll be looking at detailed shifts in his acting style, how his voice changes, the physicality he brings to different characters, and just how he approaches portraying them.
Like a masterclass in career reinvention.
Exactly. Think of it like that. Examining how a performer can continuously challenge themselves, grow, and keep surprising their audience with each new role. It showcases the strategic artistry behind building a successful, long-lasting career in Hollywood.
Okay, so let's really unpack this journey then. Let's start right at the beginning. The genesis of his career. Jensen Ross Ackles, born March 1st, 1978. His very first major television role was playing Eric Brady on Days of Our Lives. Now, for those of you who might only know Primetime or Streaming Today, Days of Our Lives, it's an institution.
Oh, absolutely. A daytime giant.
A long-running daytime drama.
Yeah.
It first aired way back on November 8, 1965. Think about that. That's a testament to its incredible longevity and cultural imprint.
And historically, these shows, these daytime dramas, they've been invaluable training grounds, like critical breeding programs for young talent to really hone their craft under immense pressure.
That's a really crucial point, the pressure cooker environment you mentioned. Actors in daytime, they typically work at this breakneck pace, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. You're often memorizing dozens of pages of dialogue a day, maybe even more. And then you have to perform these highly emotional, often, let's face it, melodramatic scenes.
Right. Big emotions.
Big emotions, rapid shifts, sometimes with very few takes. For a young actor like Ackles was then, this kind of rigorous, real-time training is just invaluable. It teaches discipline, quick emotional access.
How to just do it on cue.
Exactly, and how to maintain consistency even when the material is constantly changing around you. And his portrayal of Eric Brady, it wasn't just another role. It was significant enough to earn him multiple Daytime Emmy Award nominations.
Right, really?
Yeah, in 1998, 1999, and 2000. So that early recognition truly underscored the raw talent he possessed right from the very start.
And when we describe Eric Brady as the good boy, we really mean it in the most quintessential sense. Picture him. He's a twin.
Red Samantha's twin.
And the kind of character who always followed the rules. He was designed to be romantic, sensitive, the earnest anchor in the show.
Yeah, in a world where Days of Our Lives was and is famous for its dramatic secrets, shocking reveals, constant emotional turmoil, characters being buried alive, returning from the dead.
Possessions, evil quins.
The works.
The works. Eric was consistently depicted as the only stable character in that sea of drama. He was the calm eye of that storm, the steady hand, the one character you could genuinely count on to be morally upright.
A beacon of stability in an ocean of chaos.
That's a great way to put it. It's such a stark contrast, almost unimaginable, really, compared to the chaotic energy and morally ambiguous characters many of us associate him with today.
It's an almost perfect inverse, isn't it? That foundational role really highlights his initial appeal, but also his remarkable ability to embody that very specific archetype, the earnest, wholesome protagonist.
And it makes his later transformations all the more striking because he demonstrated this capacity for deep earnestness, a kind of vulnerable emotional transparency as Eric, elements that he would later, expertly twist or subvert or even kind of weaponize in future roles. That's fascinating, seeing those seeds of versatility present so early on.
Exactly. You can see the raw materials were already there.
So after cultivating this really earnest, good boy image on Days, Jensen Ackles didn't just, rest on his laurels. His next move saw him deliberately charting new territory. He ventured into the burgeoning world of genre television.
A really smart move strategically.
Yeah, this was his first strategic step away from pure drama and into a more action-oriented sci-fi landscape. And it proved to be a pivotal shift for his career path. We saw him take on pretty significant roles as twin super soldiers, Ben and Alec, in Dark Angel.
Right, James Cameron's show.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And then later as Jason Teague in Smallville.
These weren't just new jobs, they were critical stepping stones, almost like an apprenticeship in a whole new genre for him. In Dark Angel, playing those genetically engineered characters, Ben and Alec, that required a distinct physical presence.
Doing physicality, yeah.
A different kind of controlled physicality. He had to convey this sense of otherworldliness, maybe a heightened combat readiness, and a subtle emotional detachment that was miles away from Eric Brady's sort of open vulnerability.
And then Smallville.
Well, his role in Smallville as Jason Teague, Lana Lang's love interest with this mysterious past, that further broadened his scope. It allowed him to explore layers of intrigue, subtle deception, even a touch of danger.
Adding complexity.
Adding nuanced complexity to his performances that definitely hinted at the darker, more morally ambiguous characters he would later inhabit. This period, these roles, allowed him to develop the kind of physical language and that restrained intensity that would become hallmarks of his later, more famous roles.
Think about the internal shift required for him as an actor. You're transitioning from delivering these heartfelt romantic lines, navigating soap opera turmoil, to executing intense action sequences where your character has superhuman abilities or is tangled up in these shadowy government conspiracies.
It's a huge leap.
These roles were like slowly shedding one skin for another, right? A gradual evolution that accustomed audiences to a more rugged, complex, maybe even dangerous side of his acting. You could visibly see the seeds of his future, more iconic characters being planted.
Offering these tantalizing glimpses.
Yeah, glimpses of the versatile, multidimensional performer he was rapidly becoming.
And if those roles, Dark Angel, Smallville, were the vital stepping stones, then there was one particular series that didn't just cement his place in pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
It defined an entire era for him. And honestly, for an entire generation of fans, it was a role that would not only stretch his capabilities over an astonishing period, but fundamentally shape how he was perceived as an actor for years, maybe decades to come.
And of course was his defining, absolutely groundbreaking role as Dean Winchester in Supernatural.
The one and only.
This show, which first premiered way back in 2005, ran all the way to 2020. That spanned an incredible 15 seasons.
15 seasons.
Making it the longest-running North American sci-fi series in television history. For a decade and a half, he played Dean, a supernatural hunter, side by side with his brother Sam, played brilliantly by Jared Padalecki.
The longevity, and the sheer cultural impact of Supernatural are genuinely difficult to overstate. Its premise, the Winchester brothers driving across the U.S. in the iconic '67 Impala. Baby, exactly. Hunting paranormal predators, fighting demons, angels, delving deep into fantasy and sci-fi folklore. It just resonated so deeply with millions.
And Dean Winchester as a character. He's the total antithesis of Eric Brady, isn't he?
Completely. He would never, ever be described as a rule follower. In fact, he's usually the one causing the chaos, breaking the rules to save the day. And he'd likely be quite offended if you were to describe him as sensitive in that traditional Eric Brady kind of way.
Definitely not wearing his heart on his sleeve like Eric.
No way. This portrayal is a direct, almost complete inversion of that good boy persona we started with. It showcases an extraordinary transformation in his screen persona and just the sheer breadth of his acting prowess. And you saw it evolve too, the subtle shifts in his voice, often getting gruffer, more world-weary over the seasons.
Right, you could hear the way he carried.
Yeah, or the way his physical posture shifted from that early cocky swagger to later on a more burdened slouch under the weight of everything they faced. It truly demonstrated his evolution as Dean.
And think about the sheer dedication, the profound commitment required to inhabit one single character for 15 consecutive years.
It's staggering.
To fully embody Dean Winchester, a character who is tough, incredibly witty, fiercely loyal, but also perpetually battling not just, external monsters, but his own deep internal demons.
Yeah.
Grief, trauma, self-sacrifice.
So much internal conflict.
His journey with his brother, crisscrossing those desolate highways, searching for the strange and the terrifying, it forged this unbreakable bond with millions of viewers. This wasn't just a job for him, you feel like. It became a significant foundational part of his artistic identity.
And a central pillar of pop culture for a decade and a half. Fans didn't just watch him, they grew with the character. They witnessed the deepening of Dean's complexities year after year through his nuanced performance.
It really showcases how an actor can continually find new layers in a character, even after hundreds and hundreds of hours on screen.
Absolutely. And while Dean Winchester undeniably remains his most recognizable, most enduring role, the immense success and that remarkable duration of Supernatural didn't just solidify his stardom, it maybe paradoxically opened entirely new doors.
Right. It gave him freedom.
It gave him the artistic freedom to explore even darker, more morally ambiguous, and often deeply unsettling characters later on. This effectively allowed him to take his established knack for playing chaotic forces, characters with that rebellious streak.
And push it further.
And push it to a whole new, often really uncomfortable level. It's a powerful testament to his ability to transcend such a beloved, long-running character and truly tackle something profoundly different.
And that whole new level you mentioned brings us to perhaps his most striking, and maybe for some fans, most shocking departure yet. His role as Ben, who we all know as Soldier Boy in Season 3 of The Boys.
Yeah, big shift.
He even made that memorable cameo in its spin-off Gen V just last year. Soldier Boy isn't just another tough guy. He's characterized as this profoundly bigoted and misogynistic dark mirror of Captain America. A deeply fractured, disturbing take on the classic superhero archetype.
It was a monumental departure, even from the complex moral landscape of Dean Winchester, who, despite all his flaws, was fundamentally a hero trying to do good.
Right. Dean had a code. Sort of.
Soldier Boy represents something entirely different. Gritty, morally bankrupt, often overtly offensive. His portrayal stands in direct, stark contrast to any previous heroic or even anti-heroic roles he'd taken on.
And yet the reception was incredible.
It was. What's truly remarkable is the overwhelming fan and critical reception. Many Supernatural fans, understandably, were maybe a bit worried. They feared they would just see Dean in a different costume.
I remember that concern.
But the critical consensus was almost unanimous. He did an amazing job. He acted his ass off. He portrayed Soldier Boy not just as a simple villain, but as this calmer Homelander that didn't care about being liked.
That's a great description.
He was lauded as a surprisingly good fit, with some even describing him as the perfect counterpart to Homelander, which is incredibly high praise given how central and brutal Homelander is to that show.
Definitely.
This performance truly shows his unparalleled ability to embody genuinely unlikable characters while still making them compelling, multi-layered. And he did it through meticulous detail, that rigid, almost stiff physicality mirroring Soldier Boy's outdated military past.
Yeah, he carried himself differently.
A flat, often monotone vocal delivery masking the seething rage, and these subtle micro-expressions conveying deep trauma and utter detachment rather than just, mustache-twirling villainy.
Consider the immense artistic risk involved, though, taking on a role that so deliberately challenges audience expectations, especially right after playing Dean Winchester for so long.
Huge risk.
Here, his character embodies the very worst, most problematic aspects of antiquated heroism. An old-fashioned, deeply traumatized, often openly offensive figure. Soldier Boy wasn't just a villain. He was a broken symbol, a horrifying relic. And his performance captured this complexity with such raw power.
It really did.
It even led to those fascinating fan discussions about whether his inherent likability as an actor, Jensen Ackles himself, made the character somehow less overtly villainous, or maybe just more unnervingly human.
That's a great point. Does the charm of the actor bleed through?
Right. It's a profound testament to his acting prowess that even a character you could describe as a grandpa sexist could evoke such a complicated, unsettling mix of hate, pity, and maybe even a strange flicker of understanding from the audience. He wasn't just reciting lines. He created a character that resonated on this deeply uncomfortable yet undeniably compelling level.
That uncanny ability he has to create that level of discomfort and yet compel viewers to keep watching, even despite the character's abhorrent traits.
Yep.
That's a hallmark of truly versatile and impactful acting. But his versatility, as you know, isn't just limited to his live-action roles where we see his face and body language.
Right, he's done a lot of voice work too.
Exactly. He's also made a significant and, at times, hotly debated mark in the world of voice acting. Here, he steps into the shoes of some truly iconic characters, relying purely on his vocal performance to convey everything.
Which is a totally different skill set.
Completely different challenge. It demands mastery of vocal modulation, pacing, inflection, all without any visual cues. And it often leads to some strong and passionate opinions from the fan base.
Okay, so let's talk about the fan favorite first. His voice role as Jason Todd, the infamous Red Hood in the animated film Batman, Under the Red Hood.
Ah, yes. A high point for many fans.
This performance is one of those rare instances, isn't it? It seems almost universally acclaimed.
It really is. The reception wasn't just positive, it was overwhelmingly enthusiastic. Fans consistently describe his portrayal of Red Hood as amazing, perfect, that he absolutely killed it. A real triumph.
And the character, Jason Todd Red Hood, an anti-hero, former Robin, operates in that violent, moral gray area. It aligns pretty well with that chaos-causing side we saw in Dean, maybe.
Absolutely, there's an overlap in that anti-hero energy. He absolutely nailed the character's tormented past and its brutal present. His voice perfectly captured that raw emotional core, the blend of deep pain, seething rage, and that twisted sense of justice.
How did he do it with just his voice?
Well, he used a lower gravelly register to convey the character's hardened nature, but crucially, with these moments of strained vulnerability that really hinted at Jason's tragic history. It wasn't just one note. It's genuinely rare for a voice performance to get such universal and lasting acclaim.
True.
But his take on Jason Todd hit all the right notes for fans. Many have said they wish we got to hear him in that role again, which speaks volumes about the impact. It's a prime example of an actor finding the exact perfect voice for a complex and beloved character.
So, given that undeniable success as Red Hood and his deep connection to the DC universe, through supernatural genre roots, it might seem like a natural, almost inevitable fit for him to voice another, even more iconic DC character.
You'd think so, right? The big one.
The big one. However, his subsequent turn as Batman himself has sparked a truly passionate and deeply divided debate among fans. It really reveals just how subjective and profoundly personal character interpretations can be when you're dealing with a legend like Batman.
Indeed. He has voiced Bruce Wayne Batman in several animated adaptations, most notably Batman, The Long Halloween Parts 1 and 2, Legion of Superheroes, and Justice League, Warworld. All told, he's taken on the cowl in 6, maybe 7 if you count Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 animated movies.
So he's done it quite a bit.
Quite a bit. And the fan opinion on his Batman is distinctly, almost fiercely divided. Some listeners find his Batman voice smoother than what you would expect.
Smoother. Interesting.
Yeah, or good in emotional scenes. They appreciate that his voice has different levels, and many praise how he cleverly makes Batman and Bruce Wayne sound like completely different people.
Which is key for that character.
Absolutely key. They praise his ability to shift his vocal register for Bruce, making him sound more relaxed, natural, while Batman has a deeper, more controlled rumble, sometimes with a clipped cadence. It highlights his deliberate choice to differentiate the persona from the vigilante. Shows he understands the duality.
Okay, but then there's the other side of the coin.
Then there's the other side. Many fans express strong dislike, even, vehement opposition sometimes online. They describe his Batman voice as forced, sounding too young, like a child trying to sound like a man, or even a big boy, scruffy, gruffy voice, almost like a caricature.
Ouch.
Yeah. Some have even noted a distracting, maybe subtle Texas accent that occasionally surfaces for them, pulling them out of the Gotham experience.
And you have to consider the immense pressure, right? Stepping into the cowl of Batman, a character whose voice has been defined by legendary performers, most notably the late, great Kevin Conroy.
The gold standard for so many.
Many fans will tell you, without hesitation, Kevin Conroy is the GOAT, the greatest of all time for Batman's voice. That's an incredibly tough, almost sacred legacy to follow. It comes with immense, deeply ingrained fan expectations.
This fascinating divergence of opinion truly illustrates how even highly skilled, critically acclaimed actors face these diverse interpretations and preferences, especially with beloved, long-standing characters with such an established vocal history.
So even if you nail one DC voice,
doesn't guarantee success with another. While some lauded his long Halloween portrayal for that nuanced distinction between Batman and Bruce, highlighting how he used a slightly higher, more natural register for Bruce, and the lower, gravelly tone for Batman, others just felt it sounded unnatural, or that his inherent youthfulness came through too much, maybe lacking the gravitas of an older, more established Dark Knight.
Like he hadn't quite grown into the cowl yet.
Exactly. One fan even suggested he sounded like a younger, less experienced Batman, maybe like he'd just met Dick Grayson for the first time. Giving it an origin story feel, even when it wasn't intended. It just reflects that deep emotional and historical attachment fans have to the character's established archetypes.
And beyond Conroy, fans often bring up others, right?
Oh, yeah. They often cite Bruce Greenwood, known for his mature, authoritative Batman, or even Will Arnett, who brought that unique comedic gruffness to the Lego Batman. It just contextualizes the intense fan discussions around any new voice actor for The Dark Knight. It underscores how deeply personal the right voice for an iconic character can really be.
Okay, so it's abundantly clear he's a powerhouse in front of the camera and a versatile, sometimes debated talent in the recording booth. But his creative versatility extends far beyond just acting.
Much further.
He's also stepped decisively behind the camera, flexing his creative muscles as a director. He's directed 6 episodes of Supernatural between 2010 and 2019, and even helmed an episode of Walker in 2022.
Yeah, and his work as a director, particularly on Walker, where he directed his former Supernatural co-star Jared Padalecki, that highlights a truly unique and fascinating dynamic. It stems from their decades-long professional relationship.
They just know each other.
They have this professional shorthand communication that most directors and actors could only dream of. He could give these highly efficient, incredibly nuanced performance notes, sometimes just by referencing a specific movie scene or even just a look. And Padalecki would instantly understand the exact emotional beat, the physical action, the subtext required. This level of collaborative synergy is exceptionally rare. It speaks volumes about the deep professional trust, the mutual understanding, the respect they built over all those years working side by side.
It must make things so much faster on set.
Oh, absolutely. It allows for a speed and depth of communication that drastically streamlines the directing process, potentially elevating performances beyond typical expectations.
Imagine what that means on set. Working with someone for so long, you develop a secret language, almost like professional telepathy.
Pretty much.
When he directed Walker, he could just reference a movie scene, give me that Dirty Harry intensity, or maybe think Casablanca farewell, and his co-star instantly gets it. Cuts through pages of dialogue or long explanations.
It's a rare gem in filmmaking, that kind of synergy. It really speaks volumes about their shared history and respect, allows for a level of artistic communication most aspire to.
And speaking of these full creative universes and connections, some of his work behind the scenes has even brought these incredible full circle moments, right, with his former Supernatural family and even a famous rock band.
You're absolutely right. And beyond directing, many actors explore other creative outlets, but his venture into music with his band, Radio Company, it's far more than just a casual side hobby.
It seems like a serious commitment.
It is. They've released 3 albums, Volume 1 in 2019, Volume 2 in 2021, and Keep on Ramblin' in 2023. Their sound. You could broadly describe it as a blend of Southern rock, Americana, maybe some bluesy rock. Draws influences from classic rock, but with a modern feel.
So, another way to tell stories.
Exactly. This musical endeavor offers him another powerful, deeply personal avenue for creative expression, allows him to tell stories through lyrics and melodies that might not fit his acting roles. He actively contributes as a singer-songwriter, often co-writing lyrics, shaping the band's distinctive sound. It truly reflects his deep commitment to his artistic pursuits, his overarching passion for creativity.
Connecting with audiences in a different way.
A completely different, maybe more intimate way. Reveals a different facet of his artistic soul.
And beyond the purely creative pursuits, he's also proven himself to have this keen, strategic, entrepreneurial spirit. He's the co-owner of family business Beer Commer, right? A brewery down in Texas.
That's right, in Dripping Springs, Texas. Opened its doors in 2018. And it's not just a business venture, it feels like a tangible extension of his personal interests and passions. Owning a brewery isn't just about crafting unique beer.
It's about community.
It's about building a community, creating a gathering place, establishing a brand around something you're passionate about, often rooted in the local culture, craftsmanship.
And then there's the production company.
Furthermore, In 2020, he and his wife, Danielle Ackles, formed Chaos Machine Productions. They struck a significant overall deal with Warner Bros. Television. These ventures, the brewery, the production company, they collectively demonstrate this strategic, expansive trajectory for his career.
Moving beyond just performing.
Exactly. Into the realms of business and content creation at a higher level. With his production company, he's not passively waiting for roles. He's actively shaping stories right from conception rather than merely acting in them.
Like the Winchesters prequel.
A prime example, The Winchesters, the supernatural prequel spin-off they developed. He serves as executive producer and the series narrator, effectively reprising Dean Winchester, but from behind the scenes. It's a brilliant example of him leveraging his past success, his deep understanding of that beloved universe, to create new narratives.
Showcasing a commitment to storytelling from the top down.
A holistic top-down perspective, controlling the creative vision from the ground up.
This is where we truly see that entrepreneurial side of a creative mind just blossoms, right? Taking his vision beyond the screen. Owning a brewery isn't just about making beer, it's building a tangible experience, a community hub, a brand. And with his production company, he's not just talent for hire, he's actively creating the very content that might define the next generation of storytelling in that space. He's not waiting for roles, he's crafting them, even revisiting beloved characters like Dean, but guiding the story from behind the scenes.
It's a powerful testament to his ambition, his deep understanding of the industry, and his relentless drive to shape the creative landscape from multiple angles.
Okay, speaking of those full circle moments you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
there's a truly fascinating anecdote involving the legendary rock band Kansas and Supernatural, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. It's a great story. You see, Kansas's iconic song, Carry On Wayward Son, wasn't just on Supernatural. It became the unofficial anthem of the show, played a crucial, almost sacred role in the finales for over a decade.
Every season finale, pretty much.
Pretty much. And the band, Kansas, they were actually slated to perform in person for the Grand Supernatural series finale in Vancouver, which would have been absolutely momentous, deeply emotional for fans everywhere.
Wow, I didn't know that. That would have been huge.
Imagine being Kansas, right? Instruments packed, bags ready, literally on your way to the airport, buzzing with excitement, about to fly to the set to perform in the finale of the show that basically immortalized your song.
Yeah.
Only to be told, right there in the airport, that production is shutting down completely due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, man. That's brutal timing.
Exactly what happened. A heartbreaking moment for everyone involved. But years later, thanks to him directing an episode of Walker the Show, starring his supernatural brother, Jared Padalecki, the stars, aligned in this truly serendipitous way.
No way.
Kansas finally got their moment to perform on screen, on Walker. It was this powerful, full-circle moment that allowed them and the cast and crew to scratch an itch that didn't get scratched previously. It created this truly special, unexpected reunion that transcended the original context.
A real emotional nod to Supernatural's legacy.
Exactly. It's a testament to the deep connections forged within that show's universe.
That story really highlights the often serendipitous nature of Hollywood, doesn't it? How even carefully planned, then postponed, events can unexpectedly come to fruition, sometimes in new, equally meaningful ways.
It absolutely does. And it further underscores those profound, enduring connections formed within a long-running show like Supernatural, where a band so intrinsically associated with the theme song nearly made a live appearance and then ultimately did, thanks to these continued professional relationships and the power of shared history.
A reminder that collaborations often extend far beyond just one project.
Creating ripples across the industry.
And the Supernatural family connections truly don't stop there. The latest exciting news, which sent like shockwaves of excitement through both the Supernatural and the Boys fandoms.
Oh yeah, the internet broke for a minute there.
Is that Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins, his two main Supernatural co-stars, have officially joined the cast of The Boys for its upcoming 5th season.
Huge news.
This reunites them not only with him, but also with the visionary show's creator, Eric Kripke, who of course was the original showrunner for Supernatural.
This news is just a powerful testament to those strong professional bonds formed on Supernatural, the remarkable loyalty, the respect that exists between these actors and their former creator. The excitement among fans for this reunion is palpable, almost electric.
It absolutely underscores the enduring appeal of their collective chemistry.
Oh, for sure. And there's already rampant fan speculation about their roles on The Boys. Will they play unexpected villains, maybe complex anti-heroes, or even lean into their comedic timing for some truly absurd characters.
Which The Boys does so well.
Exactly. This widespread speculation highlights just how versatile these actors are perceived to be, capable of taking on vastly different, often surprising parts within a completely different narrative universe. It's like that beloved band getting back together after a long hiatus.
Yeah.
But this time, they're not just playing their old hits. They're venturing into an entirely new genre, showcasing a new side of their collective talents and chemistry.
Think about that powerful, almost legendary chemistry these three actors share. Just hearing they'll be together on screen again, even in totally new roles in a completely different, much darker universe.
Yeah,
It creates such a massive buzz.
it really does.
It's a testament to their dynamic that fans are already debating things like whether Misha Collins' voice as Castile, which famously got gruffer, more gravelly over the seasons compared to his natural speaking voice, will be replicated or completely reinvented for his new role on The Boys.
Right. Will he do the Cass voice?
And of course, it immediately brings to mind those famous meta episodes from Supernatural, like The French Mistake, where they playfully broke the fourth wall and acted as fictionalized versions of themselves,
Blurring the line.
further blurring the lines between their on-screen and real-life camaraderie. This reunion is more than just casting. It feels like a deeply nostalgic and incredibly exciting event for a huge, dedicated fan base. It signals new possibilities while honoring a shared past.
So when we wrap this all up, what we've explored today isn't merely a chronological timeline of roles. It's this compelling story of remarkable growth, profound adaptation, and a relentless commitment to continually challenging expectations.
It's from Eric Brady.
From the quintessential good boy Eric Brady on Days, to the demon-hunting, rock and roll-loving Dean Winchester, the controversial, unsettling Soldier Boy, and even the iconic voice of Batman. His career stands as a true masterclass in versatility.
He's proven himself to be far more than just an actor.
Absolutely. He's a multifaceted creative force, a director who fosters those deep collaborative relationships rooted in years of shared experience, a singer-songwriter using music as another profound avenue for personal expression, and a shrewd entrepreneur building businesses and strategically producing new stories, shaping the content landscape itself.
His journey, when you lay it out like this, it powerfully demonstrates that an actor's ability to truly transform, to convincingly embody characters that are wildly different from one another. That's precisely what makes a career truly memorable and enduring.
It's about having the courage to take those artistic risks, the drive to embrace entirely new challenges, and that continuous commitment to evolving as a performer, as a creative individual, never settling into just one comfortable niche.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, as you reflect on this incredible deep dive we've taken?
Well, what we've seen today isn't just a biographical sketch of a successful actor. It's really a narrative of courage in reinvention. It shows us that sometimes the most surprising first steps, the most unexpected detours, or even roles that seem completely out of character at the time, they can actually be setting the stage for the most surprising, impactful, and ultimately fulfilling journeys to come.
That's a great takeaway. As we consider the incredible, almost counterintuitive transformations in his career, it raises an important question maybe for all of us to ponder. What unexpected first steps or seemingly minor detours in our own lives might actually be laying the groundwork for the most surprising and impactful journeys that are still yet to unfold?